Tal Kadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Bava Metzia Daf Tzadichet Amud Aleph 98A1. We just said that there was a case of, how was the case of Esek Shavua? So we said like Rava. Rava said, if a person comes and says, you have $100 by me, right? Meaning I gave you $100. And the guy said, what are you talking about? I only have 50, but the other 50 I don't know about. So therefore, since he can't swear, he has to pay. Usually in such a case, since he says it's only 50, he's modem mitzat, meaning he admits to part of the claim, he has to swear. And once he swears, he becomes exempt for the other 50. But since here he says, I don't know about the other 50, he can't swear. So in such a case, he's going to have to pay. So says the Gemara, we're finding this Esek Shavua and Reisha in the first two cases of Mishnah. Why? The first two cases of Mishnah, one was a body, one was a Shema. Right? One was a Shema, one was a body. One was for sure, one was maybe. One was maybe, one was for sure. But the Seifa, right, is Bishalosh. It says V'Seifa, which is the last case of the Mishnah. We're talking about that the Mafkid gave him three parot, and the Ta'anot was only on two of them. So what's going on? So Reisha B'Shtayim, the first two cases, we're talking about that there were two. He gave him two cows. The Elmaleh that he told him, Shte parot masati lecha, I gave you two. Palged yoma b'shela, palged yoma b'schirut. Half a day was borrowing, lending it to you, and half a day was renting it to you. Inabi, or 1 day was borrowing and 1 day was renting, and they both died, right, in the time of the borrowing. Elmaleh shoel, so says the borrower, Chada em b'idan sheela meta. He says one of them did die during that time. Ve'idach, but the other one, lo yadan, I don't know. Iba idan sheela meta, meaning I don't know when it died. Meaning one of them, you're right. One of them died when I borrowed it. So therefore I'm a chayav on one of them. But the other one, I don't know if it died during the time of the sheela or the schirut. From the fact that he cannot swear, so meshalem, he has to pay for it. Right? So now it makes sense. Yeah, we're talking about two different animals. He comes and he says that one of them for sure is correct in the way that you said it, that he died during the time of the sheela. But the other one, I'm not sure. So therefore, since he can't swear, so that's it. So says the Gemara, yeah? He comes and he says, the Seifa b'shalosh. What is the Seifa b'shalosh? He says, the Elmaleh that he says, Shalosh parot natati lecha. I'm going to give you 3 parot. Shtayim b'shela, ve'achat b'schirut. 2 of them is going to be b'shela, and 1 of them is going to be in schirut. Umetu ani tarte de shela. And what happens is that you have 2 of them, they come and they died. Yeah, they died. Elmaleh shoel, so says the shoel, in yes, chada de sheela meta. 1 of them for sure died. Ve'idach, the other one, lo yadana de sheela meta. I don't know if it actually died during the time of the sheela. Will come in the schirut, and the one it's there is of the schirut, or either schirut meta or the schirut one died. That had to come in the sheela, and this is the one of the sheela. So because he cannot swear, he has to pay. So one more time, since there were 3 animals, 1 of them, you're correct, for sure died during sheela. The other 2, I'm not sure. I don't know if the one that died was during the sheela, and this is the one of the schirut, or the one of the schirut died, and this is one of the sheela. I don't know. Right? He doesn't know. So says the Gemara, and according to Rabbi Muhammad, that he says, that when you have the case of the 4 shomrim, that they need kapara b'mitzat, right? Which means that they have to have a need an atonement for part of the tviyah of bala pikadon and hoda'ah b'mitzat, right? In order to come and to swear shvuat shomrim, right? So he says, mashkach Allah, what is the case? Bereisha b'shalosh v'seifa barba. The first case has to be 3 animals, and then the last case has to be 4 animals. Meaning, because by coming and actually bringing it up, you need hoda'ah and kfirah. One more time. Kfirah is, right? Kfirah means that I'm rejecting you. Hoda'ah means I'm agreeing to you. So now, if it's going to be that I'm not sure, so therefore, why do I have to swear? So according to the Shita of Rabbi Merchama, the Arba Shomrim, in order for him to swear, to be Chayav Shavua, you need kfirah plus hoda'ah. So the kfirah is, I reject. No, it's not true. And the hoda'ah is, I agree. I admit, it is true. So for according to him, the Reisha is talking about that there's 3 animals. On one of them, I agree to you. One of them I reject, and one of them I'm not really sure. Right? So therefore, that's why he's saying. The Seifa in the last case, it has to be to deal with 4 animals. In order for me to have that 1 animal I agree, 1 animal I'm actually rejecting. Meaning because according to him, there has to be a rejection and an admittance. Has to be both. Okay? So Reisha v'shalosh, the Elmaleh that he told him, Shalosh paron, I give you three. Half a day in borrowing, half a day in schirut. Or 1 day borrowing, 1 day in schirut. Umetu shalosh. Right? All three of them died bidan she'ela, during the time of the borrowing. It says the Shoel, Chada lo hayu dvarim me'olam. One animal never happened. Lahadam lo hayu dvarim me'olam. It never happened. You never gave me three animals. Chada, one of them, you're right. Bidan she'ela meta. The idach, another one, lo yadan, I don't know. Bidan she'ela meta. I don't know when it was. That's what you have to do. You have to have a rejection. The rejection is it never happened. Lahadam lo hayu dvarim me'olam. Lahadam. The other one, I admit. And the other one, I'm not sure. Right? Because since he can't swear, he has to pay. Seifa is talking about 4 animals. Elmaleh that he says, I give you 4 animals. 3 of them, b'she'ela, and 1 of them is schirut. I lent you 3 and I rented you 1. And those 3 of them that died, which were the ones of the she'ela, the Elmaleh, so he tells him, Tzadicheta Mubet 98b, he tells him, right, the Shuel, Chada la'adam. 1 of the 4 never existed. You never give me 4, you give me 3. Chada, 1 of them, you're right, the she'ela meta. The other one, lo yadan et schirut meta or the kaima the she'ela, or the she'ela meta or the kaima the schirut. Meaning there were only 3 animals that died, not 4. So 1 of them is still alive. But again, he's saying though that 1 of them never existed. So there was only 3. So therefore he's saying, you told me that there were 4 animals. It was never 4. It was only 3. So I already rejected 1. 1 of them I admitted to you. So that's 1 that so I had kfira and hoda'ah. I admitted to you. But now there's only going to be, right, as if to say, 2 left. So the 2 left, 1 of them I rejected and never existed. So the 2 left, I don't know which one. Meaning I don't know if it's a schirut that's alive and the she'ula meta, or the she'ela meta and the schirut that's alive. I don't know. Okay? Fine. So says the Gemara, right? Right? Okay, fine. We saw that what happens if one comes and he says it was the borrowed one, and the other one says no, it was the rented one. He has to swear, right? That it was a skura that died. So says the Gemara, why? He says, what that which he was to'en, he never admitted. And that which he admitted, he was never to'en. What does that mean? Usually, whenever we're talking about in this case, it's always that you're going to be modeh to that which you're claiming. You understand? Here, it's not even a ta'anam b'miktzat. Why? Right? Because he's talking about, right? Why does he have to actually come and he has to swear? He says that which he was asking was a parameta. He didn't even say anything about the parameta. And that which he admitted to him was the para which was alive. The other guy never told him anything about the para which was alive. Meaning it's as if that I'm telling you, I lent you potatoes, and now you're coming and telling me, no, it's apples. By the way, I only owe you partial apples. I never asked you for apples, and you never admitted on the potatoes. You understand? So why all of a sudden do I have to swear? The modeh b'mitzat is only if I come and I tell you, you owe me 100, you say 50. But it's the same concept, not something completely different. And now you're going to come and you tell. So Amar Ula says, Al Yedei Gilgul Shavua. You remember we spoke about this many times in Shas already. Gilgul Shavua means that since you're obligated to Shavua on something else, I do something else. I throw it on to you on something else. Al Yedei Gilgul. The Elmaleh that he says, Ishtabel Yezumita. Diktarka Meta. Right? He says, you have to swear to me, how did it die? That it died Kedarka. Right? Why? Because even according to you, that if it died, I still can make you swear that it died normally. Now that you have to, I obligate you a shavua. And now that the migu that he's going to make a shavua that it died normally, he has to swear that the skura is the one that died. Okay? Until here, clear? Meaning a gilgul shavua. Gilgul shavua means you're right. On that in itself, I can't make you make a shavua. But since anyway I'm making you do a shavua for something else, so now I can make you make a shavua on this as well. That's called gilgul shavua. I mean, gilgel alecha shavua. I throw it onto you. I roll it onto you. Okay, next part of the Mishnah. 2 dots. Ze omer en yodea v'ze omer en yodea. Each one of them says, I have no idea. That's the last case of the Mishnah. Hamani, who is this? Sumchusi. Tamar mamona mutar b'safek cholkin. Sumchus says, whenever you have a doubt in money, you divide the money. So obviously our Mishnah is going to Sumchus. So by Rabbi Amamal says she'ala bebe'alim u'schara shelo bebe'alim mahu. What happens if you did she'ela bebe'alim and then you did the schirut shelo bebe'alim? Meaning, you borrowed the animal for a certain amount of time that was with the owners, but then you rented it, but not in front of the owners. What's halacha? Do we say be'alav imo is going to exempt him also for the schirut or not, or only for the she'ela? Mi amnina, do we say she'ela lechuda kaima l'sura, that each one is separate, meaning you have she'ela and then you have schirut, or dilmar maybe schirut b'she'ela meshech shaychi, that the achrayut of the schirut is shayach. Why? Because he's chayav and geneva v'avda, which means that it's not adding anything. So therefore, since the chiyuv now is also coming to add, so you should say he's going to be patur. So you're going to tell me now the opposite case. That the schirut, right, is kashur to the she'ela, right? Because if you first did the she'ela and then the schirut is still considered like the schirut. He says, why don't you do the opposite? You did the schira be'alim, right, the schirut with the owners, but not the she'ela be'alim. What's halacha? Right? So the Gemara is going to explain the question. She'ela b'schirut v'ada lo shaycha. Obviously, she'ela and schirut is not shayach, because you have to remember that when you do the schirut, the schirut, and then you do the schirut is patur from onsin, and then the she'ela is chayav be'onsin. So the she'ela is adding onto the obligations. So he says, Odilmar maybe, Kevin the shaycha b'mitzat, since there is something there, keman the shaycha b'kuladam. It's like, meaning even though you're adding a little bit, but it's still there. It's still the same thing. The imtim salaman. If you're going to tell me now, lo amrina, we don't say, right? Keman the shaycha b'mitzat, keman the shaycha b'kuladam. She'ala be'be'alim u'schara shelo be'alim chazar she'ala ba'mau. What happens right now if there was a she'ela be'be'alim and schara shelo be'alim, but then again you borrowed it, right? Shelo be'alim, meaning you borrowed it with the owners, you rented it without the owners, and then you borrowed it again without the owners. Do you say now, right? And that's what we're saying now. Do you say now that it's again the same thing? So hada atila she'ela ledukta. Do you go back to the she'ela, or dilmar maybe? There was a pasek, there was a fsek, because of the schirut in the middle. So for even though the first she'ela was be'alim, now it's not be'alim anymore. Okay, so says the Gemara, right? So therefore we don't. The fourth question, sechara be'alim ushala uschara dechazar uschara. What happens if you rented it with the ba'alim, then you borrowed it, right, and without the ba'alim, and then again you rented it? What's halakha? Do we say again that you go back to the original schirut, or do we say there was a pasek? Or dilma afsek she'ela benovera. There was a pasek in the middle, and therefore there was a fsek, and that's it. Take in all these four questions, we don't have an answer. Here's the Mishnah on the bottom of Tzadichet Amubet. HaMishnah shoelet hapara v'shilcha lo biyad beno, biyad avdo biyad shlucho, or biyad beno. Right? Biyad avdo biyad shlucho shel shoel. You come and you're borrowing the para. Now, the mash'il, which is the lender, he sent it in the hands of his son, servant, or shaliach. Or the borrower, right? Of the shoel, the borrower had it in the hands of the son of the borrower, the servant of the borrower, or the shaliach of the borrower, who met and it dies. Right? So now what happens? So it died before it got to the hands of the shoel. Patur. He's going to be patur. Meaning, as long as it does not go to his hands, he's going to be patur. It doesn't matter doesn't matter whose son it was. It was the son of the lender or son of the borrower. Doesn't matter whether it was the servant of the lender, servant of the borrower. Doesn't matter whether it was the shaliach of the lender or shaliach of the borrower. Patur. Amar lo shoel. But, however, if the borrower said, but if he was the one that told him, no, send it in the hand of my son, my servant, my shaliach, or your son, your servant, your shaliach, right? Or shamalo mashir, or the lender says, I'm going to send it to you in the hand of my son, my servant, my shaliach, or in the hands of your son, your servant, your shaliach. V'amalo hashoel shalach, and he says, send it. V'shilcha, and
maybe by now.
Umeta, and it died. So what happens? Hayav. He's going to be Hayav. Why is he going to be Hayav? Because he accepted the responsibility, right? He accepted it. The exact same halacha would apply to the time when he's giving it back. What does that mean? The same thing. If he's giving it back, he's not going to be exempt from any obligations until it gets to the hand of the mashil, until it gets to the hand of the lender. But what happens if he sent it in the hand of the son, servant, shaliach? No, he has to accept it. So either he has to tell him or he has to ask for him. Yeah, send it back with this guy. Then he's going to be put to the exact same way. It works both ways.